Hey, how's it going, guys? So it's pretty early in the morning here, December 7th. It's 4:13 a.m. where I am at, and I was just browsing through the news and I started seeing reports coming in about an hour or so here on YouTube of several news sources covering what appears to have been a uh, plan to carry out a coup in Germany. So, hundreds of people, or thousands, I think, conspired to overthrow the government of Germany, and were planning to do so by force. And it looks like the government was able to uncover the plan and actually foil it. And, this is pretty incredible news. It's never good whenever there is a coup attempt in any nation. It is a sign of destabilization, and it could create copycats or inspire other people to do similar things. But it kind of broods chaos, so it's never a good sign. And of course, Germany, we've we know they've had coups before. They've had some pretty historical moments in political history, famously with Hitler and the Third Reich, um, and how they pretty much overthrew the government, in a similar way and took power. Although of course, Hitler at first tried a coup, failed, then wrote Mein Kampf, uh, his diary explaining all his beliefs and stuff during that jail time, and then afterwards, he gained a following because of those acts of rebellion, and then eventually through the government actually achieved power. Um, but it's an area of the world where we've seen uh, a lot of these things before, and right now we have this uh, conflict going on between Russia, Ukraine, and the Western allies that are supporting Ukraine, like the United States, the UK, France, and Germany. And so there's a lot of tension right now between Russia, its allies, and these Western nations that are against what Russia is claiming and doing. And so you already have this tension there, and then you have some people in Western nations that don't necessarily agree with the decisions that their nations are making, and that creates a climate for these type of things like coups. Um, but to see it in Germany, so soon, with these recent statements of putting a price cap on Russian oil and things like that. This is definitely not a good sign. Of course, Russia was just attacked too. It looks like some drones possibly from Ukraine attacked certain bases inside of Russia. So, things seem to be getting a little bit more chaotic. I think that it's going to get a lot more chaotic before we see an end to this tension that we're seeing right now. Of course, everything happens for a reason, and everything going on right now with all of this is, biblical in nature, in my opinion. These are things that have to take place in the world according to biblical prophecy. So I will definitely be keeping an eye out as this develops, but let's actually go ahead and take a look at this video. Like I said, this is from an hour ago. Right now it's 4:17, so this news is pretty much breaking, and we're going to take a look at this video by DW News, which tends to be a Western type of media source. They tend to support the Western point of view, the United States and Germany, and this is them reporting on this attempted coup. And this video is from about an hour ago, so let's go ahead and take a look at that.
5 people have been detained in a series of overnight raids across Germany over a plot to overthrow the state by force. Some 3,000 police officers were involved in searches of more than 130 properties nationwide. Authorities believe the suspects are linked to a nationwide far-right network. Among them are several former members of the armed forces and at least one active soldier. On this fast-moving story, let's bring in DW's political correspondent Julia Sardelli. Julia, what more can you tell us about these raids and about the suspects that have been detained?
Yeah, this was a very big operation that took place in 11 of Germany's states, but also 2 people were arrested abroad, one in Italy, one in Austria, and we've seen that 25 people have been arrested, but that there are a further 27 suspects in the case, suspected of also being part of this what is being called a terrorist network, and it is assumed that this is one of the biggest anti-terror operations in Germany since World War II. The accused and the suspects are seen to have been part of a terrorist network that was seeking to overthrow the democratic order in Germany, and the center of this network seems to be an entrepreneur from the city of Frankfurt in Germany who calls himself a prince, although it is only a symbolic title, but he owns a hunting lodge in Thuringia, and he seems to have been the man that was coordinating this network, and part of the network was apparently also a former member of the German parliament for the far-right AfD party, who is currently an active judge in the city of Berlin, but also members of the German...
So it looks like we actually had some ex-politicians, from what I'm hearing. They're members of the German parliament, ex-members, were part of this organization here.
German army and one member of the German special forces.
Now, the suspects apparently had a plan to overthrow the German government by force. How realistic are these, or were these threats?
Well, the network seems to have formed at the latest in November 2021, so last year, and the investigations into the network started in the early months of this year after a tip came from the intelligence services in the state of Hessen, especially regarding this Prince Heinrich, as he is called, and it seemed like this network was actively working to form almost like a shadow cabinet and to arm itself to carry out an armed attack against the Bundestag, the German parliament, and actively arrest politicians, and then therefore bring about a change in the government order of...
So they literally had planned to carry out a physical coup, like, actual guns, take the current members of parliament, or whatever offices of power they have there physically, and as we heard there, they hadn't experienced anything like this since World War II, and we know all the chaos that ensued during those times. So this is pretty crazy. This was a huge conspiracy, right? It was actually, looks like it had a lot of members, a lot of serious members, that were actually planning on doing this.
Of Germany, basically carrying out a coup, and the group wanted to change the government of Germany, take power with the support of the Russian Federation. The prosecution has said that the members of the network had already tried to get in touch with representatives of Russia here in Germany to try to facilitate this process. So we are talking of plans to carry out a coup here.
Now this...
Okay, so you see the woman here reporting that apparently these people that were planning this coup were actually getting in contact with Russian persons or people in order to I guess inform them of what was going to take place and sort of come to some sort of agreement with the Russians. Um, so it could definitely be Russian sympathizers or people that aren't happy with the relationship between Germany and Russia right now. So that's what I'm getting from that.
Suspects are alleged members of the so-called Reichsbürger scene. Tell us more about that movement.
Yeah, Reichsbürger means a citizen of the Reich, of the German Empire, and this is a group of people who believe that the current democratic order in Germany is illegitimate, that the democratic order that was established after the end of World War II is illegitimate, and that the actual form of government that should still be in place in Germany is that of the German Empire, and they have often conflicts with authorities, they refuse to pay taxes, and
there you go. So now they're kind of painting them as these, radical uh, conspirators of a sort. So they have, apparently, they believe, that Germany should still be the German Empire, and looks like they're anti-democratic. So it's sort of, it definitely sounds like a radical group. Almost Hitlerian in its ideology of trying to revive that old ancient German Empire back to its glory days. And I'm sure some of these people could have been Nazi sympathizers, but whatever it is, it's all an ideology. And it's very interesting that that's what they claim, and the fact that they were trying to get in contact with the Russians before attempting the coup. So, of course, there could be a lot of media manipulation in these cases. It's convenient to the news source to report on whatever narrative is giving to them, but the fact of the matter is that there is a lot of political instability right now throughout the world. Uh, you know, interestingly enough, it seems that the places where they are more stable seem to be these what the news media would call dictatorships, such as Russia and China, because of what I'm sure people would claim is their corrupt hold on power and their hold over the people. But yeah, call it what you want or say what you will. The fact of the matter is that there is a lot of chaos and instability in governments, and a lot of those seem to be a lot of these democratic nations because of the fact that there is a democracy, and you have all these political philosophies right now in people's heads. It can create a lot of these type of scenes which we're seeing, and also there does seem to be a lot of contention or conflict between the actual people of these nations and what they want and what the leaders are actually choosing to do. Of course, throw in there all these conspiracy theories of what is actually happening around the world, and you have the current climate that we do have. But of course, in my opinion, I do believe that it's all biblical in nature. But yeah, well, I'll definitely be keeping up here with what is going on in Germany, and I'll cover this more if more news develops or anything interesting like that. Anyways, make sure you give the video a like, and make sure you stay tuned for further videos by subscribing to my channel. This will be it for this video. Thank you for tuning in to VR Revelations. Have a wonderful day.